When was the last time you forgot something important? I'm not talking about your keys or something on your to-do list. I'm talking about a moment that mattered. A memory you thought you would never forget, and then one day, it just wasn't there. I remember standing in the kitchen watching my mother look at my son. Really look at him like she was searching for something. She was trying to find his name. And it's not just any name. This is the name of her late husband, the love of her life. The name of my father, who never got to watch me grow up or meet the grandson named after him. And it's not just any grandson either. This is the boy she helped me raise, the one she looked after so I could go to work and to school. The one who now, as a grown man, still takes her to get her hair done on Thursdays and takes her to lunch. And in that moment, I realized she wasn't just searching for a name. She was searching for everything connected to it. The husband, the daughter, the grandson, the whole story. But the thread was broken. Somewhere right now, someone is losing the most precious memories of their life. Somewhere else, someone is uploading theirs to the cloud. And between the two is a question I don't think we ask often enough. What does it mean to be human when our stories no longer live inside of us? My mother has dementia. She hasn't forgotten me yet, but she is forgetting her life. She forgets the stories she used to tell that anchored her sense of self. So these days, I'm the keeper of her stories. I tell her about where she used to work, the places we lived, the things that make her her. I feed them back to her when she needs them, like breadcrumbs leading her home to herself. Watching my mother lose her memories taught me something I didn't expect. She wasn't just losing information. She was losing who she was. Her stories were the thing holding her sense of self together. Because our stories aren't just records of what happened. They're how we know who we are. And while I've been doing everything I can to help my mother remember, many of us have been doing something very different. We've been doing everything we can not to have to. And I get it, technology makes this so easy. It gives us directions, reminders, helps us create things. It handles life's logistics so we don't have to. But somewhere along the way, it began to do more than that. I have over 32,000 photos in my phone. And yet some days, I couldn't tell you what I did last week without scrolling through those photos. The moments are captured, but they're not carried. And I know I'm not alone. We document more than any humans in history, yet it seems we're remembering less. And now something new is happening. We're not just storing our memories externally, we're beginning to outsource the meaning-making too. Our phones give us a year in review. It chooses the photos, adds the music, writes the story. But we didn't decide what mattered. The algorithm did. And every time we let something else tell us what our life means, we get a little worse at doing it ourselves. Now, when we stop carrying our stories, something subtle but serious happens. We stop absorbing experience in real time. We trade lived meaning for proof that it happened. Now, if a story lives in a device, it's stored. But if it lives in a person, it's shaped and felt and passed on. That's the difference between a saved file and a shared life. And through most of human history, our stories weren't kept in devices. They were kept in people. Some cultures called them griots, others called them elders or memory keepers. Their job was to carry the stories that held the community together. And when they could no longer carry them, someone else carried it for them. That's what I do for my mother now. I carry her stories. But not everyone gets to have that. My father, no one carried his stories. He passed away when I was 9, and this year he would have been 100 years old. Everyone who really knew him is gone now. So I don't have his stories to pass on to his grandson that shares his name. I can't tell him what his grandfather was like as a boy, what he dreamed about, or what scared him. I don't know. And I never will. And because of that, there's parts of myself that I'll never truly understand. And now my son's living with that same reality. His father passed away recently, and he's going to have the same gaps I do. Questions that no one will be able to answer. So I've lived between two types of story loss. Watching stories disappear as my mother forgets, and the ones I can never recover because no one kept them alive. In between those, I realized something uncomfortable. I wasn't losing my stories the way my parents did. I was giving mine away to convenience and devices, and this quiet assumption that captured means remembered. Now, if our stories are how we know who we are, then losing them isn't just a personal problem. It's an all of us problem, because communities that forget their stories can repeat the same harm, and families that forget their stories can repeat the same patterns. And without shared memory, we can begin to lose our sense of we. We can start to live these isolated lives that never quite add up to something greater. You see, every person you pass carries this inner world, vivid, complex, and full of meaning. And these worlds, they're made up of our stories. Stories that tell us who we are and where we belong. Stories that give shape to our lives and meaning to our connections. And when we lose these stories, these worlds can begin to thin. And when that happens, we not only start to lose the depth in ourselves, it can become harder to recognize the depth in others. You see, the threads that connect us across communities and generation and time, those threads are woven together by our stories. When we lose them, our threads of connection can begin to fray. Now, we can't get back the stories that we've already lost, but we can stop losing new ones. And we don't have to abandon technology. We all know that technology is not going anywhere. But we do have to practice carrying our stories again. So here's 3 simple ways to start. First, live one moment without capturing it. Every day, experience something without documenting it. A walk, a sunset, a conversation. Don't take a photo, don't post about it. Just be in it. And then later, tell someone about it. Just from your memory. Practice remembering, because we never know when our brains may not be able to. This strengthens our ability to notice, retain, and trust our own lived experience instead of solely relying on a device. Second, ask for one story you haven't heard. This week, call someone older than you, a parent, a grandparent, an elder. Don't ask for their whole life. Ask for one moment. Ask about a time they were scared, or when they fell in love, or what it was like to buy their first home. And then listen. Because you're not just gathering information, you're becoming a carrier. This keeps human memory alive across generations and reminds us that we're part of a bigger shared story. And third, tell one story out loud. Each week, tell someone a story from your own life, face to face and voice to voice. Something small, something real, something that matters. Become the person who carries your own story. Because sharing our stories out loud reinforces our identity and connection in the sense that our lives are worth remembering, not just recording. Now, my mother may be forgetting her life, but her stories still live. They live in her children and her grandchildren, and we will pass them on in ways no algorithm can, because that's what humans do. We remember each other out loud. Our stories are only as alive as the people who carry them. So carry yours. Ask for the ones you haven't heard, and tell the ones only you can tell. Not for the algorithm, for each other. That's how we stay connected. That's how we stay human. Thank you.